is able to manifest love at a very high level. But interestingly, at this time, just quite recently, there appears to be more interest among our students and faculty of the sort of the full range of love traditions, spiritual traditions, including the Abrahamic traditions, and there's more and more interest in Christianity, having, and it turns out that we thought we could only find these things that we want in the Hindu Buddhist tradition, but then it turns out, oh wow, you come back here, oh, there's there all along, that was funny. And so there's a little bit of a wow, okay. So it's kind of an exciting time, and the Chaudhry Center that Joe described is created by two people, Brendan Collins, who is a kind of a Catholic and a Buddhist, and Jake Sherman, who is a Christian for sure, but many, many other things as well. So it's Christian without the exclusivity and lots of those other things that we don't want. So the love is hard, but it's where we're aiming, and we have these great exemplars of sort of love in action. And so we then turn to what's really here in this institution in terms of the Sri Aurobindo, the Mother, Haridas Chaudhuri, Bina, the Bhagavad Gita. I think, it's a work in progress. We don't have a predecessor. We're doing this as we go along. And so we're trying to find ways to, as Joe said, keep to our mission, and at the same time to grow, to innovate, to become more and more relevant, which means getting involved with institutions that don't know what we're talking about when we talk about spiritual. So this is all quite complex, and it takes subtlety and leadership and courage and mistakes. Though I don't think we've made so many lately. I made most of them. Right now we're in a really good, smooth time. So for those of you who don't know about our school, there's an undergraduate division, and lots of people come to that on the way to these special programs that they can't find any other place. That is a big school, about half of the institution. It has to do with psychology, doctoral and counseling masters. And here we have a real test of licensed psychology by professionals who don't really share our worldview, our paradigm, and deeply committed to modes of knowledge that are quite restrictive. And we are trying to, both at counseling and psychology and PsyD level, doctoral level, we are trying to say, no, you've left out 7 ways of knowing. There are other ways. There's imagination and intuition and meditation and conversation and certain kinds of exploration of consciousness which you need to know about. But then you should be the Bhagavad Gita. And that conversation is quite difficult because the people who get to be in charge think they know what they're doing. In some respects they do. But they could be missing something, as indeed our whole culture is missing something. The whole culture is missing, and they're a reflection of it. And we're trying to be counter without being irrelevant. Tricky. Okay, so that's one big topic going on, and Joe and Judy Wexler and our psychology faculty are working on that, I think, quite admirably and impressively, and with difficulty. This is a hard thing to take on, basically an academic guerrilla that's saying, no, if you're going to live in this forest, here's what you have to do. And we're saying, no, over here we could do it nice. And they're going, oh, you're not real, you're not adult, you're funny people. That's okay. So then in the other school, consciousness and transformation, these are good words. These are really good words, but they're not necessarily the best thing to put at the top of your resume when you're going to Goldman Sachs and others. So this is this is tension, but it's a good tension. There are lots of tensions that are good. Male-female is a good tension, and knowledge, action, love are tensions, and money and non-competitiveness are tensions. So it's not bad that we have tension or polarity. They're good. And the creativity happens in that little bit of, sandpaper, a little bit of baking of the oyster. So these programs, Asian cultures, you might say, well, they don't have any tension. Well, of course they do, because the people in charge of Asian studies are not talking about the spirituality of Sanskrit. That's not part of that paradigm. All of the disciplines in the academy at this, and for the last, who knows, 50 years or more, but certainly for 50 years, are somewhat reductionist, flatland, and if you do depth, you're sort of funny, and so you needn't apply. So yeah, we're trying to do Sanskrit, and when you hear Jim Ryan chant, we're trying to do Sanskrit in a way that intensifies its spiritual capacity. So that Sanskrit becomes, in our own experience, a mantric experience, an experience of the sacredness of sound. Right? We're trying to do that. And East West Psychology, we're trying to discover and work with the synchronicity and the depth of the human, and not now therapeutically, but in terms of knowledge, understanding of how is the human built up, not only out of certain obvious available phenomena, but psychic dimensions. They're very deep and subtle and complicated. And social and cultural anthropology has the possibility of keeping us all honest by a powerful critique of our too easy assumptions that we're all really nice people and there's no power plays and nothing else. And that's we're pretty good at fooling ourselves. And so cultural anthropology studies the ways that many societies solve certain kinds of power problems, and others succumb to temptations, societies and individuals. So they keep us honest, and we need to learn from them. And we really wish them well, because that's a very hard job in a culture where there's lots of trickery and self-deception, including in this institution, because guess what, we're human. And then the program that I'm in, PCC, Philosophy, Cosmology, and Consciousness, we're trying to restore philosophy to wisdom, philosophia, to wisdom. And then we have two kinds of consciousness. Evolution of consciousness, which is really sort of cosmological, and the other one is the archetypes, trying to know what's going on in the structure of the cosmos, the planetary world, that reveals it reveals something about human behavior and events. So there's a psychic structure to human, but also to the cosmos. Very complicated, very interesting, but we have on our faculty one of the really great interpreters of this these mysterious relationships, Richard taught us. I'm not naming names, but in his case, he's all over the place. You can know his name. And then we also tend to the feminine, because, we're all coming at the tail end of this Guy project, which has been mostly very impressive, and kind of lots of us like parts of it, but it's also been pretty disastrous. It has a lot to do with war and competition and horrific inequalities, and a lot of blindness to needs of humanity and the earth. And so feminine is not the only way to reveal this a failure, but they kind of specialize in it, and that's quite a good thing. And then we have a program that goes online that has to do with individual and social, cultural transformation, and that reaches truly around the entire world. So they're our missionaries throughout the whole human community by this great online program. So I'm sure I've missed some things, but you get the idea of the diversity, complexity, innovation, and temptations. The great temptation is to lose, basically to sign on for the winners, which is who has the power and the money and the prestige and etc., or to try to stick to our mission and say, no, we're going to keep saying, we're holding out for something. We're trying to do something really important here. All right? In conclusion, I want to suggest that Integral, the name of our school, and I thought, this is an unpronounceable name of a school. What are we going to do with this? But I said, we got to change this name. So I thought, every now and then I said it out loud, which is a really bad idea. But now, of course, we're so respectable and so legitimate and so admired, and Integral is so cool, it would be, wouldn't be a good idea to change it. So now we are. We have to forever say California Statistical Studies, or we say CIIS as though there's only one I and whatever. But we do have this word Integral, and I suppose and I would like to recommend that we get some instant recognition in our own mind or in conversation of what it might mean. So one integral is really the process of joining somehow, complicatedly, but persistently joining the academic, the intellectual, professional with the spiritual, with these yogas. Join them. Not one and then the other, not like some religions that are, cutthroat all week and then holy on Sunday morning. This is all day. Sri Aurobindo says yoga, indigo yoga is all of life. All of life is a secret yoga. Well, let's make it not so secret. So that's one integration. Integrate the academic, intellectual, professional with the spiritual. Bhagavad Gita, New Testament, Dalai Lama, whatever, do something to awaken your spiritual self in relation to the spirituality of the cosmos and the society and the helpless babies and the aged and the sick and the poor who outnumber us upper middle class people by hundreds of thousands to one. It's past time. So another integration is the one that many people here seem to like, and that's body, mind, and spirit, and that's a good thing. So we do somatics. We try to figure out how pain is stored in the body and how the transformation of the body could liberate the psyche and the mind and the spirit. And this is really good. So, and we care about the body, and we care about the material realm, financial, and for that matter, political. Lots of interest in politics. And so then we also are working with the mind, many ways of knowing, and to lift the mind so that it is able to negotiate with these other realms, and spirit, which has to do, it's immanent, it's transcendent. Some people don't like transcendent, but get over it. Spirit is transcendent. It's not limited to some little local situation. It's huge. And that's the case. You can change the word, but you can't change the reality. We are part of a vast spiritual realm, all right, and mysterious. The big problem is not that it's transcendent, it's that some people make idols out of their version of the transcendent. But the transcendent's is really pretty good. And depth dimension. So that's a good way to think about integral body, mind, spirit. The way that I've been talking and recommend, but not instead of the others, in additions, because we're integral, we keep adding, that the integration of the spiritual knowing, right? Spiritual action, behavior, as Joe picked up from Dr. Chaudhary. Spiritual love, having to do with consciousness, means not grasping, not possessing, not controlling, but the free giving of oneself, of one's interior life, to all of the needs everywhere, which are plentiful and calling to us day and night if we would allow ourselves to see. And then all of that in the evolution of consciousness, which is the big story that we are part of. We're not the stars, but we're in it. We're in the big story of the evolution of consciousness, where spirit, Krishna, Christ, these high beings, Dalai Lama, who has vowed to come back until all of the species have ceased to suffer. This is sainthood plus plus. He will come back while there's even a single cockroach that's nervous about getting splattered on a counter in Manhattan. Okay. He will keep coming back. This is... Okay. So the whole evolution of consciousness is inviting us to participate in this great story of the growth of humanity in relation to Gaia, to plants and animals, to angels and archangels, to Buddhas and bodhisattvas, this whole vast panoply in movement, in lila, in the dramatic unfolding of the divine intent. We're in on it if we would open up. So it's a planetary era, as Joe quoted Edgar Morin. It's a new day.